Okay. Welcome, everybody. Before we begin, I want to give a quick shout out to the boys varsity Wareham basketball team and the coaches. Unbelievable. Great efforts, and hopefully they can keep it going. So today is the 6th of March, and welcome to the Conservation Commission's notice of public hearing. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and/or Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaws, Division 5, and other applicable laws on Wednesday, March 6, 2024, on 6 p.m. All matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaws, Division 5. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. So at this time, I would like to do a quick roll call. We'll start in Mr. Joe.
Here. No. Joseph Still.
Autumn Wood.
Carol Melanson.
My name is Kwame Barty.
Donna Colbert.
And Joshua Faraday. And just one quick revision, it's the Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6.
Oh, 6, sorry.
Sandy.
Oh, and we have online Sandy Slavin. Okay. Hi, Sandy. Okay, so can we start with the first notice of intent, NOI?
The first notice of intent is for Susan Wolverton, 198 Great Neck Road, to be determined to reduce a lawn to create plant beds and plant native species in the lower area to create a wetland meadow. Let me see if I can find, here we go.
You can come up to the table. Identify yourself and
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marie Chiepo. I'm an ecological landscape designer, and I am the person in charge of this project for the wetland meadow. This is an area that we will be basically bringing back to life that currently is covered with European grass that offers absolutely no ecological value on the property whatsoever to wildlife. What we are proposing is creating within the meadow, within the wetland rather, islands. Basically, you know, there'll be of varying sizes. Some will be 10 by 15, some will be, 15 by 30, like that. And in those islands, we are going to be using an auger to plant plugs of native wetland species that are appropriate for those conditions. We are not displacing, removing, or adding any material in the wetland whatsoever. We had a soil test done, and the plants we are using are very fitting with the conditions. So I had provided a list of plants that we will be using. The hope is that in time, the native plants are going to compete with and shade out the grass. In order for us to do that, we are going to be mowing what is now there, the European grass that is there, very low. And we are going to be putting either leaf mulch or straw down, depending on what is allowed here, and then putting these plants in. The material, the grass that will be remaining will be kept very low. And what happens is the roots of these plants, through rhizomes and seeds, basically, airborne seeds, are going to produce more on this property. Currently, we are filling it with 25% of the area with these plants and these islands. So the hope is, over the years, more will be planted. But at this point, for financial reasons, we are starting at 25%. And we do have also on the ecotone, the woodland edge, currently has a variety of invasive species that I had identified. Mike Nadu had also identified, that was indicated here. Multiflora rose, oriental bittersweet, and I believe there was also some Phragmites in there. Yeah, Phragmites and so forth. So we are going to be treating those with herbicides that are allowed in the wetlands. I have a certified person, applicator to do that. And we are going to basically paint the stubs. We're not going to be doing any general, spraying of any sort. We're going to be painting the stubs with that material, and then planting shrubs such as Ilex verticillata, winterberry, Clethra alnifolia, which is spicebush, Occidentalis, which is buttonbush. And the purpose in that is to immediately start to add roots to that system, to that subsoil, to the soil. And in time, they're going to fill in that area with native appropriate plants for that upland area of the wetland. So I have the names of the chemicals that he is proposing to use. They are both on the MDAR list, and they are using Sidekick 2 as a non-ionic spreader. His plan is to use, I don't use herbicides. I'm an organic land care person, so forgive me if I get the pronunciation wrong. But rodeo and aquanite for any foliage treatment, and then the Pathfinder 2 for stump treatment. Again, this is targeted herbicidal treatment. It is not going to be sprayed. It is not going to be in any way touching material that is delicate, fragile. On the upper side of the property, we are planning on, can I get up there? Is that allowed?
The only problem is we'll have trouble hearing you
okay.
because of the microphone.
Okay, so,
I could point to it if that helps with the cursor.
yeah, so if you can go up to where that back door is, yes, thank you. So in that area, we are proposing to create a path from the corner of the property, which is off the screen, towards the back door of the home, using gravel and metal edging. Then we are planning to create a garden largely composed of native plants, but also some non-natives, but non-natives that are not in any way aggressive. Azalea, for example, and none of these are going to be planted close to the septic system. We're very familiar with the issue with roots and septic systems. And then as you descend the hill towards the bottom of the property, we are planning to scrape grass off. We're not going to be using a cutter. We're not going to be using large machinery. We are basically going to be cutting, scraping the sod off and creating beds that go throughout that top area and down. Using native plants that are suitable for those conditions. It's largely, as the further down you go, the more shady it gets because there's a beautiful tree there. We are not taking out any trees, we're not taking out any shrubs that aren't invasive, other than what I mentioned to you at the beginning of my presentation. And then the lawn that is left in this area will be used as paths. So we're not going to be, again, we're not bringing in any material that is going to be impacting this property in any adverse way. We are merely adding roots and native plants to this woodland area for more insects, to improve the ecosystem. And the owners will be mowing the grass amongst the beds as they see fit. But it's going to add a tremendous aesthetic and also a wonderful resource of food and habitat for wildlife. We will be using wattles for sure, and I indicated it on what I had sent in. So certainly around the wetland area, we will be putting wattles. We'll be using track mats to reduce compaction, and we are going to have as delicate a touch as we possibly can throughout the entire property. I'm trying to think what else. What am I missing? I mean, in the description that Mike Nadeau created, the purpose of this project is to restore ecological functionality, and this is the case for the wetland, by removing exotic invasive plants and planting species that are indigenous to coastal freshwater wetland ecosystems. This will reduce soil erosion from stormwater events, provide high-quality habitat for threatened pollinating insects and birds, and improve the overall aesthetic appearance. So, absolute minimal disturbance we will maintain. And Mr. Nadeau and I have been in business he's been in business for 40-some years, I've been in business for 26. I like to think we know what we're doing. And this is a project that is near and dear to this owner's property, to the owners of this house. For aesthetic purposes and also for ecological purposes, they want to be able to, sit and enjoy the wildlife that will be attracted to this area, and just beautify it. Because right now, it's just European grass that's sitting there and doing absolutely nothing. And then in the upper area it's just lawn. So we're not adding any fertilizer. I don't use fertilizer at all in any of my projects. And we will be setting up appropriate irrigation for the areas so that material establishes well. The homeowners are very dedicated to this project and to see that it is successful. And they will be on hand and there caring for this project for the entire time and years to come. So that is the conclusion. If I have failed to include anything, please let me know.
Oh, thank you.
Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with questions on this side of the room. Mr. Josh?
Did we get that list of those plants and chemicals you'd be using?
Yeah, I sent the list of the plants.
An email, Josh?
I'm sorry?
I was asking Josh if you ever got that. We had-
Yeah, it was sent in the email.
All right. You could skip me for now. I just want to look it over.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
Ms. Autumn Wood?
Thank you.
welcome.
First, I just want to say it's nice to see the removal of a monoculture for more native biodiversity, so we
Yes.
do appreciate that. We don't often get projects like this.
Yes.
The only area that I'd like to comment on is more for Josh, I think. With the creation of more wetlands, does this impact future projects for this property with what they may or may not be able to do given our bylaws?
So I don't think you're actually creating more wetlands. You're restoring what is currently there and enhancing what
Yes.
is currently there. So I don't think there's going to be, I don't really see there being an increase in more wetland. The wetland that is defined there is pretty channelized of what it is, and really a lot of this work is within the buffer.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Correct.
Yeah, I would just hate to see that impact the property in any way, so.
Oh, absolutely not.
So thank you, I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Absolutely.
No questions, thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Who actually mapped out, actually flagged out that area for you?
Who did the delineation work?
Yes. Yep.
The owners are here. Who did the wetlands delineation?
The original was done prior to some home renovation by J.C. Engineering
Okay.
a year ago. Want me to walk up?
Please do and identify yourself for the record.
Oh, sorry. Yes, please step up to the mic, please.
I'm Rich Wolverton, resident at 198 Great Neck Road. So the original conservation map was created by J.C. Engineering.
Okay, excellent. And I'm sorry, your last name again?
CHIE, PPO, Chapo.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I just want to applaud you for, undertaking a really wonderful restoration project and creating a very, very detailed narrative for us. I have just two questions. One is, I know that treating of Phragmites has always been and has often been a controversial issue. And it is my understanding that one treatment, and the way that you're doing it with the hand painting
Yes.
onto the stalks is sort of the environmentally approved way to do it so that you do the least
Yes.
amount of damage in the
Yes.
environment.
Yes.
And yet my understanding is that it takes more than one treatment to actually eradicate Phragmites. It takes maybe 2 or 3, like over the course of 2 or 3 years to eradicate
Yes.
Phragmites. So is there a plan in place for ongoing treatment to remove the invasive species? Do you already have a plan in place for that?
It's a plan that I will be setting up with the pesticide, not the pesticide, the herbicide
Yeah.
person. Mike Nadeau and I will be creating that. But with the Phragmites themselves, there are only like 7 of them. There are only 7 that we can see. And he's an expert with invasive plants, so what he says is, he can identify material very easily. So in response to your concern, your question, most certainly, a plan will be put in place to do whatever we need to do with the minimal disturbance and disruption to the invasive material. So we can hope that in time, they will, die out. Another option is so a lot of times with organic land care, I believe in starving plants. So in other words, reducing their likelihood of receiving photosynthesis. So we can certainly, and I would check this with Mike, but we can certainly treat it and then watch it, see what it does. And moving forward, we can, with material that is considered, like leaf mulch or what have you, we can cover those. So the area where these Phragmites are is close to the woodland area, to the ecotone. And there literally are like 5 or 6 blades that we can identify. So I understand your concern, and we're not ones to just do a job and leave. I will be creating a management plan with this family, and I will be checking in.
That's
and
great.
seeing to it that things go well and that invasive material does not return.
Yeah, that's great, thank you.
Welcome.
And the other question that I had is, could you speak a little bit more to what you said about irrigation? You are, just speak a little bit more in depth about what that entails.
So for the first 3 weeks or so, obviously depending on the weather, if we have a good amount of rain, we're not going to be concerned about it at all. But we will be creating, with the tripods, some spray that will directly hit the plants, not anything else. I also believe in saving water. I wouldn't be in this business if I did the opposite. So there will be a system put in place to water the material and see to it that it establishes correctly.
Yeah, but it's a temporary above-ground system.
Correct.
Okay.
Very
Thank you. I
temporary.
have no other questions.
Okay.
Sandy, do you have any
Yes,
questions?
thank you.
Yeah.
This is for Josh. Josh, did you ever get this plan on the viewpoint? Because this is the first I've seen the plan.
I thought I included this. This should have been included with the attachments that I sent in the email.
I only got the NOI. I didn't get the other stuff. But, okay, here's the question. What is the water source for this wetland? Is it, if I recall, wasn't there a ditch running through the front yard or a depression?
There is. There's
Okay.
a wetland to the south east of the road or the driveway, southeast, and it continues off property to the north.
Yes, right.
Will there any salt water coming in
No,
No,
under
this
high
isn't-
tides or storms or anything?
No, this is entirely fresh water.
not at all.
All right.
Yep.
I think that was, I'm very pleased, and remember that bittersweet takes quite a few years also to get rid of.
Of
Those
course.
invasives like to hang on. Excuse me, I have an annoyance over my shoulder. Go away.
We're used to this now. Cats, animals, you name it, going across the screen.
And if I recall, wasn't the homeowner putting in rain barrels to try to catch some of the roof runoff
Answer, Rich.
from the last project?
We haven't got them in yet, but they're going in the summer.
That will be a great water source. Okay, that was it. No more questions. Good project. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Josh, I'm sorry,
No, I'm fine with going last. That's totally appropriate.
I should have asked you first, shouldn't I?
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
me going after the commission is appropriate too. No worries.
Excellent.
I think it's a good project. The recommendation would be the issuance of an order of conditions. I would like to see a revised site plan for the path that you're putting off of the back of the house.
We're not putting a path in the back. You mean up at the top of the hill?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Well, not the back of the house, but yeah.
Right, so it's gonna be a 4-foot wide path
Okay.
that
I just
currently
like
has
it.
lawn.
Yeah, I just like it depicted on a plan.
Sure,
That's all. And
I thought we had. It had been,
I may not have seen it, but
yeah, it was drawn.
oh, okay.
It's in there.
Okay, I'll back up one step. There was an issue with me trying to upload all the documentation onto our portal. and I
Okay,
couldn't figure out why that was happening.
mhm.
So that's why I think there might be some concerns with the commission on why they didn't receive some material. But,
Okay,
they got what was appropriate for moving forward with the project.
mhm.
So if there is a plan with a path, I'll just have to review it.
That's right.
Okay, I have no problem with that then. That was one of the things I would like to see. I know you said you would not be using fertilizer, but just so you know, we do have a special condition for the use of fertilizer.
As
where
you
we-
should.
As yes. So if you decide to use fertilizer, just be aware of that.
We are not.
As far as the chemical use for the invasives, I think one condition the commission should consider is just a notification to our department
Mhm.
on the day of the use.
Of course. Mhm.
And those are my comments, Kwame.
Oh, thank you, Josh. So that's Josh's recommendations. So I guess we need a motion to close the hearing.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Wait, anybody want to talk? Anybody in the audience?
Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody in the audience or online? Oh, okay. Oh, well, do you want them to step up to the mic?
We hope it to be a model.
We don't.
We don't need to. Okay, no, we don't need you.
Good. If your only comment is it's a great plan, we
Yep.
don't need your
Yeah, any questions or concerns? That's right. That's right. I'm sorry, Sandy, I know. I'm trying. I'm trying.
Thank you, Sandy.
Okay,
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
excellent. Okay, so that's,
A first and a second to close.
yeah, okay.
All
And
approved?
all approved?
Aye.
We do a roll call.
I would do
You have to do a roll
because
call.
Sandy is,
Yeah, so Sandy's
Okay.
online. So, okay, so we have a motion to close the hearing?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, we'll do a roll call. Sandy?
Yes,
Josh? I mean, Joe.
no,
Sorry.
you only-
Joe?
Yeah, you only have to ask Autumn, Carol, and yourself. Right.
And, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Johnson's not
and
voting yet.
Autumn's a voting member.
Okay, Autumn.
Sorry, yes.
Aye.
Sorry, Autumn too.
Okay, Carol.
Yes.
Myself, yes.
400.
400, we're good.
Motion to accept this plan. What's the order of conditions going to be, Josh?
You're just issuing your standard order of conditions.
Standard order? Motion to accept this with a standard order of conditions.
Second.
And any special conditions that you feel are appropriate.
The special condition of that the board be notified when you're going to be doing the herbicides.
Yes.
Second.
You want to do a roll call?
I think we should do a roll call. Autumn?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Myself, yes.
Sandy?
yes,
Sandy? Yep, okay, so 400 again.
Approve. Standard.
Okay, so I think that closes the hearing, and you have, do we need anything to give you, Josh?
So I'll write up the approval paperwork. You can't start any work until there is a appeals period through Mass DEP. It is 10 days after you receive the paperwork, so I'll be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Stop
you.
by and check it out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Be a
seeing
model
it.
for other properties.
Yeah, it's nice to have a project like this.
Thank you.
Yes, with bees and birds.
Nice hat. Look at that. Nice orange hat.
Okay,
Okay, so
the next
you have a
item.
number 2, yes.
Yes. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6, a public hearing will be held in Room 320, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass., on Wednesday, March 6th at 6 p.m. On the request of notice of intent for 2 Daniel Terrace Realty Trust, 11 Madison Street, Wareham, for reconstruction of an existing licensed pier located on the Weewantic River. Map 53, lot 17, 176B, 177, 178, and 1022, 11 Madison Street, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you, Carol. And who is working on the project? Name, date of birth, social security, bank, all that good stuff.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and commission members. My name is Dave DeVignan. I'm
Yes.
from Schneider, DeVignan, Leone, and I'm here representing the property owners, the 2 Daniel Terrace Realty Trust. With me is Greg and Lisa Waite. They are, Greg Belcher and Lisa Waite, they are the trustees of
Yes.
the property.
Yep.
So the address is 11 Madison Street. It contains a single-family home and a pier, a pile-supported timber pier that traverses across the salt marsh and terminates in the Weewantic River. If any of you have visited the site, that pier is dilapidated, pretty much had its best day behind it. So the pier is licensed. It's has a Chapter 91 waterways license as identified on the plan and attached to the notice of intent. The proposal is to remove that structure in its entirety and to rebuild a new pier over the same footprint that exists today. The proposed width of the pier is to be 3 feet 4 inches wide. The total length of the pier from its beginning at the lawn area to its terminus, which it will end at the exact same spot it ends now, is 117 linear feet. That's the fixed structure, excluding the gangway and float, which will be placed in the waterway. The height of the finished deck will be increased significantly. If you were to look at the profile view, which is on the top of that page, the existing pier is pretty much level at elevation 7.6. We're proposing to elevate that up to elevation 10 at its beginning point, and then eventually falling with the grade as it traverses across the marsh down to elevation 9.5 and ultimately elevation 9 at the end of the pier. That will meet the 1.5 to 1 ratio that is the preferred width to height ratio by the DEP as well as the Army Corps of Engineers. We will also be providing lateral public access pretty much at the end of the existing row of boulders and stones below the pier with a 5.3-foot dimension so that if somebody wanted to access underneath the pier, they can. Right now, that's not a possibility, not only due to the pier's height, but due to the condition of the pier. The pilings proposed are 12 inches in diameter. They are going to be green heart as required according to your wetland bylaw. The pilings will be installed using a vibratory hammer on an excavator from the landward end, using Dura-based mats, which will be, they're interlocking mats, will be laid down across the salt marsh on the south side of the pier. The pier will be demolished beginning from its landward end, working our way to the seaward end, and then the pier will be reconstructed in the reverse manner, starting at the seaward end, driving piles and working our way back to the lawn area. The seawardmost 4 pilings will be driven by a crane set on the barge, so this will be a partially built with by land and partially built by sea. And there will be 4 float piles installed for the float itself so that we can attach float stops and maintain a 30-inch separation from the substrate to the bottom of the float, which is also a requirement by the DEP and various agencies. We do have a DEP file number, and we have received correspondence from the Mass Division of Marine Fisheries as well as Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. I'm not sure, Josh, if you received. I forwarded an email to you this afternoon.
Yeah, it seemed like almost a summary of what they are going to issue.
Yes. The author of the letter basically told us in the email that, you know, I draft it, my boss has to approve it, sign it, and send it on. The letter essentially puts a time of the year restriction because the area is mapped for the diamondback terrapin turtle.
Right.
So the timelines in the letter are June 1 to July 31, no activity, which my clients are fine with. They're hoping to beat the June 1 and get it done this spring. If they don't, they would like to do it immediately after the July 31 timeframe to get this thing corrected. There's not much I can add. I know there's a lot of material in front of you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have also, if people don't have that, that draft of the conditions, Josh, you could post that onto the computer if anyone.
Yeah, I mean, we literally just got it, what, at 4:30 today? Or that's when you might sent it?
I sent it this afternoon in hopes that it would be finalized. I think we received it yesterday, March 5th.
Oh, okay.
And then because of the timeline of the 30 days that they called her and told her that we're coming to the meeting, and that's why they expressed this draft to get out, but she is gonna sign within a few days this draft. So it's like, this is an official draft, and there was no adversely effect in the area it listed on here. But like Dave said, I agreed on the turtle, and my wife agreed on, that's the breeding time for those special turtles. We love those turtles. They show up in the ground. The only thing is, there's a fox that runs around and gets all the eggs, and I want to see those turtles survive. We love to see those little things. The turtle people come down around this time, and they love that area, and they show the kids, they show how they net it, and it's very professional. It's, very nice to see.
Thank you. That was a lot of information there. Josh, do you have any concerns about this project?
I actually liked going last.
Oh, you like going last? Awesome. Excellent. Well, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go with Sandy. You have any questions?
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Yep.
I'm having a tough time reading the screen. What is the depth of water, low tide at the end of the float? I can't read it.
The depth of water at the end of float at low tide?
Yeah. Yes.
We're
I
looking
can't,
at,
it's
4 or
on
5
there, but
inches of-
honestly, too small for me to read.
we're looking at about 4 inches of water at low tide.
4 inches.
Yes,
4 inches of water at low tide.
that's correct.
How are you going to maintain a 30-inch float stop?
What we're proposing, what we typically do is we take green hop piles, cut them 30 inches in height, and they're bolted to the 4 float piles so that the bottom of the frame of the float or the skid will rest on the 4 stubs, if you will. So at low
Okay,
tide,
so-
it will look like a table out there in the water at low tide.
So there will be 8 pylons.
Correct. There'll be, the 4 interior float stops are not driven into the substrate. They're actually bolted to the piles themselves.
Ah,
If you were
is that on the
to
plan, Josh? Is that on the plan someplace?
Yeah, you can see them depicted in the image.
zoom into the top upper
Oh,
right corner of the
Okay,
plan.
I see them. So they'll be attached to the pylon, so there'll only be 4 pylons driven into the soil.
That's correct. If Josh is going to zoom in. I don't know if you can see that now.
I see it now.
Okay, so
So what are those other things underneath the float?
those are the plastic drums.
Huh. So there will be quite a step, interesting, between low tide and where the float is. Where the float is. There'll be 30 inches between water level and the top of the float, thereabouts.
That is correct.
Well, that's quite a step out of a boat.
Well,
What
Well, at
plans,
low
what
tide-
do you plan to use for boats on the float?
well, my wife and I are not much boaters, maybe canoes, to go around the kayaks. Nothing with a motorized thing at this time.
So at low tide, any kayaks or canoes in the water will be resting on the bottom of the water, right? On the soil,
Typically.
in the mud.
Well, typically
probably
they're
take them
stored
out.
on the float.
Yeah.
So if we put a condition on it that nothing is to be left tied to the float and everything is to be brought up onto the float after use, how does that sound? Because if you don't do it, it's going to sink into the mud.
Yeah, I agree, and, we went with this proposal of the new, the pier, and because of the height and to let people go under it, now we're saying that if our grandchildren came over, they're gonna go to the end and fall down. We'd rather have a gangway, and at least something there, but we can do that.
We wouldn't leave anything in the,
Yeah.
on the,
I think if I did get a boat, I would just get something outside the water, away from the float. But I don't think it's a boat type of a situation to be on that float.
Yeah, it's really in this scenario, it really is it's a dinghy dock, if you will, is what we call it. to get you out to a boat that's moored in water. Can be used for kayaks and canoes, and that's pretty much what you have.
Because when Dave told me.
Okay,
there
so
were so many
high
inches-
tide is 48 inches high, right?
That's correct.
4
yes.
feet?
Yes,
And your float stops are at 30. So your float is only going to be rising
A sm-
18 inches?
a small percentage of the tide cycle, you are correct, Sandy. Yep.
Okay, I am just concerned that if anything left is tied to that float and it drops down to and hits the stop, any boat on it will rest on the bottom in the mud. Okay, and my question is, another one, barge. Can we put a stipulation that the barge will only be used 2 hours before or after high tide, since you don't have much water there at all?
It is a condition of our construction methodology, but you can certainly condition the project within the conditions of the order. It's recommended by MDMF as well.
Yep. And the other condition would be there would be no construction between June 1st and July 31st?
Correct.
That is correct, yes.
And the rest of the work will be done off of the upland using mats over the salt marsh to handle the equipment with as little disruption as possible.
We agree.
Is that what I heard?
Yes,
Yes.
that is our proposal.
I don't know where I'm supposed to look. She's up there.
I don't know, did the board get the photographs of if they didn't attend, of how that dock is? So that was within the 2-year period that this happened.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Storms. The
nasty
last-
looking dock.
The last couple of
Yeah.
storms, so we can see the age of the pier, that it needs attention. And that's why, we want,
Yep.
like you said, Chairwoman, you came out with Josh and looked at the dock, and you said, I want an engineered plan, so I wanted the best engineer I could get. You're not saying any
Hey, you-
other, not any other
And you
engineer
found,
is
yeah,
any good.
and you
but-
found Dave, well done, yes. I believe
thank
that
you,
was
Sandy.
my, let's see, no boats in the water at low tide. How am I gonna put this? Help me, I'm trying to say, I don't want anything sitting in the mud. Barge work, no work, mats.
Sandy, may I make a
And-
suggestion?
Yeah, please, do ahead, I'm stumbling here.
I think the suggestion is no motorized boats to rest on the bottom.
Well, they'd still allow a dinghy and a kayak and a canoe.
That has been the history of the site. That pier's been there since the early,
40s or 50s.
from my investigation, all the way back to 1970.
Okay. Kwame, I'm done.
Thank you, Sandy. I think we'll shoot some questions over now. Josh? He's Josh. I keep looking
Joe.
Josh. Joe?
Similar names.
Yeah,
How
James.
long do you say the duration of the project would last?
The construction of the pier, I'm going to estimate, will take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay. Now, where will you be storing this excavator equipment, you said?
Yes, we've identified on the plan, we have a decent lawn area between the beginning of the pier and the seaward face of the house. There's a cross-hatched area on the plan that identifies the storage of materials and equipment.
Gotcha. No further questions.
Ms. Autumn Wood.
Thank you. Going through the NOI application packet, I saw that there was an attachment that notes that the project, if required prior to any construction, within land containing shellfish, all shellfish shall be removed from the footprint of the proposed pier and relocated under the direction of the Wareham Shellfish Officer.
Yes.
Have you performed an assessment of the area for shellfish, or is that just something you're going to move forward with when you are ready to begin construction?
We did not do a shellfish survey. We sent the notice of intent plan to the shellfish officer, and it's standard protocol for all the towns that we work in, where they either, the shellfish officer decides whether they want a mitigation fee that might go towards reseeding somewhere else, depending on the situation, or we schedule something with him to remove the shellfish prior to the work happening in the waterway.
Okay, thank
We
you.
have not heard back from him, though. I'm not sure what his protocol is in Wareham.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cal?
The pilings that are going to be installed, are they the same diameter as what's there now?
Oh, no, no.
What's the diameter of what's there now?
What's there now, they vary from 4 by 6 inch to maybe 6 by 8 max. Typical minimum standard is a 12-inch driven pile.
Okay, thank you.
One question I have is, any power to your pier?
We are showing as an option to bring electrical service to the pier from the house, should they decide they want to. We also show it in the cross-section of the pier, and essentially it's a conduit that's attached to the inside of the stringer, right below the decking.
Excellent.
Nowadays, I find that most clients will just put solar lights
Right.
on the deck, and
Yeah,
does the trick, and it's
I think
easy.
that's what we're gonna do anyways.
It's
right,
cost-effective.
yeah,
Mother Nature do its thing.
sure, that's right. All right, cool, thank you.
No questions for me, thank you.
And Josh?
So I've seen Mass DMF actually put the time restriction as far as October 30th. So I'd be interested to see what their actual letter says versus the July 31st timeline.
Sure.
I still think October 30th might be a better time frame for a time of year restriction anyway. I would say that the commission would require a high tide restriction for the actual barge work to be completed. The town of Wareham works very closely with the Diamondback Terrapin program. So if you do have, if you see a terrapin laying eggs, definitely give them a call. They'll come out and protect the nest. But I can give you their contact information so you can, more closely work with them. They're very knowledgeable and, are everywhere around Wareham from what I can tell. So I can give you some contact information for them. One of the conditions for the commission should be any conditions stated in the letter from Mass DMF or the Division of Marine Fisheries. And I think you want to say, no boats shall be tied to the float or allowed to stay within the resource area when not in use.
Okay,
Not just Josh, not just motorized, no boats.
Yeah, because, my concern with the salt marsh being so close is that, the tide comes in, pushes the boat into the salt marsh, the tide goes out, and then it's a boat laying within the resource area. So, I would say don't tie anything to the dock and bring them up when you're not using them. I mean, I think that would be a smart play anyway, so they don't get floated out to sea and you never see them again.
We don't want that to happen.
But,
So, we're in agreement that,
Boats are including kayak, yeah,
I'm sorry.
kayaks, anything that floats.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
I was going to say that whatever the final letter states and that timeline might be increased, we
Yeah.
certainly agree to the way.
I've just seen them extended as far out as
It is-
October 30th, so
I've seen
July
different timelines depending on the area, but that's the shortest I've seen, I will agree.
yeah.
I just want to say that now this letter that we're waiting for Mrs. Holt to, get to you, as soon as that comes to you, my question is if this project could start before those turtles, before the time that they're,
Well, it sounds like they're gonna have, the letter to you guys within the next 10 days. I thought I saw March 16th somewhere.
right.
And Mass DEP has a 10-day appeal period of when we
Correct.
issue the order of conditions
Correct.
anyway,
So that would put me in April, so I'm just like, if it's late April, early May, or mid-May, before and no work near the end of May, so we know those turtles are not affected from the June to the July.
Right, I mean, after the 10-day appeal period, we don't have
Yeah.
a preference of when you start anyway. It would
Okay.
just be you can't start after
Correct.
June 1, and,
Yeah, I just heard October, I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like trying to, work with everything, because now I'm shut down for, 2 months, which I didn't know about the turtles. I know they're around, but I didn't know. I know they're on the other side, because they pop their little heads up if you're swimming on the Briarwood Beach, and you see them, so,
yeah. Yeah, so the time restriction would be June to October 30th.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would tell the commission to condition.
Yeah.
If they feel that you want to take a risk with it maybe being July 30th with the DMF letter, or maybe it gets extended. Just July 30th is very early from what I've seen historically.
Historically, have you seen it go from June 1st for then a longer period, or does it ever start later?
Yeah, I've never seen it start later than
Okay, so June 1st,
Yeah,
all right.
June 1st is pretty much their go-to start.
Okay.
I don't think your letter is gonna come back and put a time of year restriction like March 30th to something. I think the start time of June 1st is pretty standard.
Yeah.
I've just never seen something as early as July 31st. So,
Now, can this be voted on prior to getting the actual signed documentation?
the commission can approve it upon the receipt of the actual signed letter to the Conservation Department.
Okay.
So basically what would happen is I would not approve anything until I receive that letter, and as soon as I receive that letter, I would finish off the special conditions of the order of conditions,
Okay,
and then it would be approved, and that's when the 10-day appeal period through Mass DEP would start.
okay.
That's a lot.
Do we have any, did you?
Do we have anybody in the audience or online that would like to comment about this project? I'm seeing none.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second?
All in favor? We're gonna do a roll call?
Yes.
Okay, Sandy,
Yes,
Autumn,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Okay, so that's 400.
All right, ask Josh what the conditions are gonna be, so you can make the motion.
And Josh, what is your recommendations again? So we can,
So you can go either way on the time of your restriction. You can go June 1st to October 30th, which is what I've normally seen, or you can just condition it based and say any conditions outlined by the Mass Division of Marine Fisheries letter, which would cover whatever their time of year restriction would be. So you could go either way on that. I would say that you should include a high tide restriction, 2 hours maybe before or after high tide, but, you definitely don't want this barge sitting in the low tide. And then, the final condition of no boat shall be tied to the float or allowed to stay within the resource area.
all right, so that's the
So moved.
conditions. So moved. Okay.
We need a second?
yeah, but
yes.
wait,
Mr.
you didn't
Chairman,
say,
there has
you
to be a
didn't say
choice.
whether or not you're going through October 31st?
That's
Or
what I was
what was
gonna
on the
say.
DMF letter?
I was just gonna ask that,
Okay, we'll go with the, whatever
Mass
Department of
DEP.
Marine Fisheries goes with? Is that who decides?
I would say June 1st to October 30th
I
would be
don't-
the more cautious approach, because we
I
don't know
would-
what they're gonna say.
Yes,
Okay,
That's my preference also.
I would go through,
Sorry,
I would
can I
go
say
to the
something?
October date.
okay, so with the time restriction of June 1st to
So
October 31st?
30th?
October 30th, I think
October
is normally
30th?
what they put. Yeah.
Okay,
Your applicant does have a comment if you would like to
Yes,
hear it.
yep.
I just, when you said the October, so if they come back and say that it's the June to the July, is that set forth with what they say?
It would still be the October 30th. It would be
Yeah.
the condition that the
Yeah.
commission approves.
So what I'm trying to say is, it's getting hard to get people to fix piers, and this thing is busting up. And I've been trying to get people booked, so the longer you throw me out, I can't get it fixed any, you know. I'm just trying to prevent them breaking it away and going someone else's yard. So I just would like to see if they could go to the fisheries.
Well, can we condition it that we state it's June 1st to October 30th unless a timeline is given by the Department of Marine Fisheries from June 1st to
It,
July 31st?
No, no,
I wouldn't say that.
No.
What I would say is,
I,
oh, go ahead, Sandy.
I would say that we're giving them until October 31st. We know the environment, and we believe that the time frame needs to be more than 2 months for the turtles.
Okay,
Tell the turtles, hurry up.
okay, so the condition would be from June 1st through October 31st.
That's the motion.
But before, one more comment from me?
One
I'm sorry.
second.
Can it be done before that, if it's, you know, before the time? If I get a person to do it professionally in May,
Yeah.
before that,
Yeah.
I'm good. That's what I'm just worried about.
Oh, no,
I don't know
our-
the wording.
Oh, sorry. I think what we're saying is you can do no construction starting June 1st to October 31st.
Okay.
Right.
If you find someone that can do it, you know,
Right.
the day after the appeal period,
Right,
then you can start then.
okay. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
asking. I didn't know. I thought I was,
Right. Yeah. Conservatively, the appeal period will probably be over by April 1st. And if you find someone on April 2nd that can
Yeah.
do it,
okay.
you're permitted to do so.
Perfect.
Second.
A second?
We have a first and a second, you
We
want?
have, okay,
You
we
want a
have a
roll
first and, yeah, we're gonna do a roll call. Miss Sandy Saveman,
Yes,
Autumn,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
myself, yes. 400. Everything is good. You have to give all your notes and everything to Mr. Josh before you leave, or email, text message, whatever you need to do.
Very good, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. We have a bunch of continued hearings. Prime Engineering, 370 County Road. And also Fairing Hill LLC, County Road, Reality Trust Hidden Trails, and also Russell McKinnon, 28 Nelson Street. All are going to be continued to March 20th.
You should take a vote
We
on
have to take a
the
vote to
the
continue
second
them.
two.
Okay,
Motion to, do we have to do the one that's
individually?
No.
already written as the
Prime
20th?
Engineering was already continued to the 20th, so you don't have to vote on that one.
Okay,
County Road and 28 Nelson, you need to take a vote on to continue.
okay. So motion to continue Fearing Hill LLC until March 20th,
Second?
2024. First and second?
Okay, that's the motion to continue.
Yep.
Okay, Sandy,
yes,
Autumn,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
and myself, yes.
Motion to continue Russell McKinnon, 28 Nelson Street, until March 20th, 2024.
Second?
That's the motion. Sandy,
yes,
Autumn,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
myself, yes. Okay, the other continuing, are we continuing this, Josh? Or are we,
No, it was continued to tonight.
oh, it's continued, okay. And this is Michael and Liana J. Dauncey, 2 Seashore Lane, and it's the NOI 42, and the applicant proposes to demolish a cottage, construct a single-family dwelling, install a septic system and associated utilities, construct a formal driveway, widen the existing gravel roadway, and to fill and grade partially within a 100-foot buffer of bordering vegetated wetlands, and within the land subject to coastal storm flowage, flood zone VE, and take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Dave DeVignan, Schneider DeVignan Leone, representing Michael and Leanna Dancy. We were here 1 month ago. We presented the project. There was one request by your agent for a roof runoff recharge. And after that hearing, I think it was about 2 weeks later, we submitted a revised plan incorporating a roof recharge system to the easterly side of the dwelling. About a week ago, we also submitted an additional revised plan after visiting the Board of Health. We met with the Board of Health. They asked for some changes to the plan as well. So that is the plan on record that you have should be dated February 28th, 2024. I'm here this evening to see if there are any other issues that the commission might have. If there are not, we're still looking to continue the hearing because part of the project requires the upgrade of the existing, I'm going to call it a single-lane gravel roadway within Seahorse Lane. And my client's attorney has an appointment with the planning board on the 25th of March. Unfortunately, we could not get on their agenda at their last hearing. They were booked. So we're looking for confirmation that the roadway improvements would be adequate for what the planning board wants in order for us to do a conveyance of parcel of land that's a part of this project. So I'm here just seeking, I will be asking for a continuance for 1 month until the first meeting in April. But I also wanted to entertain any questions or further concerns at this time so that we can hopefully button up the project on April 1st. I'm not sure when the next hearing is. The 2nd, I think?
It would be April 3rd.
3rd, okay.
Okay. Josh, do you have any concerns?
Presenting the revised plan on the screen right now. As Dave had mentioned, I think he addressed the concerns that we had from our prior hearing, and he gave the commission an updated plan, and I believe you're just looking for a continuance tonight.
That's correct, but if there are any questions, concerns, comments, I'd love to hear it.
I don't think there would be any new ones based on our comments from the last hearing.
Should I just go around with the roll call just in case for any questions?
Yeah,
okay.
You can
Yeah.
commission the whole commission for comments if you want.
Okay, so I'll start with Sandy if you have any comments.
Just a question, Dave, did the Board of Health approve?
They did not on that evening. We discussed various items that they wanted on the plan. They wanted the...
So this, okay, so they have not finalized, okay.
Not
I have
yet, but
none,
I would expect them to do that in the next week or two, whenever their next meeting is.
I have no question, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Joe?
None for me.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Carol?
No questions, thank you.
Myself, I don't have any questions. Denise?
No questions.
Okay.
With that being said, will you formally request a continuance to April 3rd?
Yeah, and I would just make sure we have the final plan after any of the Board of Health or Planning Board comments.
Yes, our anticipation is that they're meeting on Monday, the 25th. When we get feedback, hopefully solid feedback, we have a revised plan, if necessary, on the following day,
Okay.
Tuesday the 26th.
Yep, and then that will fall in line with the commission's 1 week timeline of wanting to see it before, so that timeline makes sense.
Okay, terrific.
Motion to continue this hearing until 4/3/24.
Second?
Okay, that's the motion. All in favor? Sandy?
Yes,
Autumn?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Me, yes. 400.
Okay, that's done.
Okay, next continuance is for Ronald and Susan J. Schmidt, 15 Narrows Road, NOI-41. The applicant proposes to demolish a cottage, construct a single-family dwelling, install associated utilities to construct a formal driveway and fill and grade within a 100-foot buffer zone of various coastal resources areas and within land subject to coastal storm flowage, flood zone VE. And who's representing the project?
That would be me.
Wow, you're 3-0 tonight. Well, going for 3-0, right?
Again, for the record, I'm Dave DeVignan, Schneider, DeVignan and Leone. I represent Ronald and Susan Schmidt, who are with me this evening. We were here last 1 month ago, and 2 weeks ago, we submitted a revised plan, and I'll go through the changes. We also submitted a cover letter which described each and every change that we made at our last hearing. Do you want me to wait for the plan to come up, Josh?
Please do, I'm having trouble finding it.
It's okay.
You know if you uploaded it to the actual permit? I know I got one in my office.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't see one on the actual permit, and I don't see one in my email.
I know I emailed it to you for sure. Would have been the same day as the Dancy one, February 21.
Let's see.
I did bring a board just in case.
Seahorse. Here it is, I have it.
Great.
So here was the revised plan that was submitted. It was submitted February 21st. We've been trying to go digital with everything and get it into the Viewpoint platform. I didn't realize that this hadn't been posted there, so I don't know that the commission has actually seen this revised plan. So you guys can, it was submitted within the timeline that the commission has requested revised plans. It was my fault that it slipped through the cracks on this. You wanna give, why don't you take the
I have a
commission?
couple of plans that we can spread on the table, if that helps.
Why don't you talk the commission through the revisions that you have made, and the commission can see how they feel about making a vote on it tonight.
Okay, so at the last public hearing, the major concern with the commission was providing a 30-foot buffer zone from the coastal bank, or no activity zone. And that's what the revised plan reflects. So the entire project was shrunk so that we show a 30-foot offset line to the coastal bank, and that would be the coastal bank to the west and the coastal beach to the south. The erosion control is outside that 30-foot marker and encompasses the proposed work. So from doing that, it shrunk the driveway. We had a double parked car driveway heading westerly, and now it's just 2 single cars side by side. We increased the back out area a little bit in front of the house so that you could easily come in, and we also widened the driveway slightly coming in so that you can easily sweep in and park, back out, and pull out onto Narrows Road. We had to relocate the roof runoff recharge system. That was more towards the west, and it's been tucked towards the house. And we're proposing 3 eastern red cedar trees. Then they're strategically located inside the 30-foot, but allowed to grow so that they'll become the permanent barrier to the coastal bank to the west. And there are additional changes that were not requested by the commission, but we've done on the plan. There's a walkway that takes you from the house to the coastal beach. It's an old marine railway, steel rails, that a patio was constructed in between the rails. We're proposing to manually remove the rails completely and remove the walkway, and finally relocate the fire pit, which was discussed, back up into the upland area to the west of the house. We're also proposing, there was a minor concern about the hillside up in the northeast corner, and we're proposing plantings to be installed along that slope for further stabilization of the site. So that's a summary of the changes. And to summarize it in the simplest terms, it was give us the 30-foot buffer zone that your bylaws require, and that's what we've done, shrunk everything and removed everything outside of that. There was also a mention of submitting to the sewer commissioners. We submitted a letter also dated February 21, and we copied the commission on that letter in our hard copy packet.
Okay. I guess I'm going to start with Mr. Josh.
The plan that was provided this time is a lot better than the original plan. It does depict the 30-foot no activity zone. The trees are an additional benefit. Removing the boat launch and the fire pit, I think, are overall better for what the commission is trying to gain within their 30-foot no activity zone, which is a buffer between the resource area and activities taken. I think Mr. DeVignan hit a lot of the concerns that the commission had expressed at the first public hearing.
Excellent. Denise, any questions? I'm going to start on your side this time.
Oh, Donna.
Donna, sorry, Denise.
That's okay. So I'm glad that you've made the changes that you have. I wish I would have been able to see the plan ahead of time to actually see the 30-foot zone for myself. I think that the addition of adding plantings for the bank is a plus. I don't know that it entirely replaces the very large tree that's there now that you would be taking out. I recently read an article in the New Bedford Light. I don't know if anyone saw this over the last week. The New Bedford Light published an article, "Will Your House Be Underwater in the Year 2100?" And they released NOAA maps, projection of where the tidal flow is expected to be at that period of time. And most of this property will be in tidal, could be part of the tide flow. So I still have concerns about just simply the location of this property, the location of this build. I think that the change to the driveway area is positive. Question, I recall from the last time we spoke that that you were here before the commission, that you were going to be adding fill in order to create that parking area. And I have to defer to some of my colleagues here because I'm a newer non-voting member. That I believe that fill is not allowed, that increases elevation, is that correct? Am I misunderstanding the bylaws in that way?
So fill is not allowed within a wetland resource.
So as long as it's
So-
outside of the 30-foot, it's okay?
As far as the Wetlands Protection Act goes, fill is allowed within the buffer to a resource area. The commission has taken a stance that no activity should happen within the 30-foot, so there should be no fill within the 30-foot activity.
Okay. And the revised map, I'm assuming from here is outside of that with the 30-foot.
Correct.
So I think you've made big improvements to this plan as far as I'm concerned in my view. I still have concerns just simply about its general location and sea level rise over time. That's all I have.
Oh, thank you. Let's see, one question I have is the walkway to the beach area that, you said that you're going to remove, or you're gonna maintain, or you're gonna reconstruct it?
Manually remove it.
Oh, you're gonna
Permanently remove
oh,
the
okay.
walkway, the
Yep.
rails, and the fire pit. So there will be nothing within the 30-foot. The driveway, shrinking the driveway, we're actually, the driveway will be up like on the hillside. The amount of fill, and it really is only the southwest corner of that driveway. The grade will come up because it tips, and we're just going to level it up 18 inches at that point. The high tide, the approximate mean high water line is elevation 1.8. The finished grade proposed for, basically, it's going to be a level plateau where the houses will be at elevation 7. So we will be about 5.2 feet above the normal high water. So perhaps if the tide line moves and shifts, it will end up creeping into that coastal beach area that has the sparse beach grass, probably up to the 30-foot mark. Not to the 30-foot, but where the coastal bank resides and where the beach grass resides, but we'll be well above the tide line for future rise in tides.
Thank you. Carol?
No questions, thank you.
Autumn?
Could you please remind me which trees on this plan will be removed?
I'm sorry.
Are there trees on this property that are going to be removed?
Yes, there's a twin tree. It's actually located the northeast corner of the house, the proposed house. And then there's a tree just inside the deck footprint in the southeasterly corner of the house. Those are the only two trees that we've identified, that we actually located, that
Okay.
will be cut down.
Okay. And then you're adding the other three
Correct.
on the northwest. Okay, thank you.
All right, Joseph?
Those trees Autumn just mentioned on the eastern side, was that a heavier slope? I had driven by the property a couple times.
Yes, the northerly tree, just past the tree is where that steeper slope that rises. It runs up from elevation 7 up to 11.
Now, do you think removing those trees might cause some unwanted erosion off that little slope there?
That's why we're proposing to plant that entire slope. We have it laid out to be planted with beach plum, beach heather, eastern showy, and sea lavender.
Yeah, no further questions.
Thank you. Sandy?
Yes, thank you. You're going to raise the parking area by 18 inches. Are you having to put in some type of wall or something to retain that increased level of soil?
The 18 inches is worst case in the southwest corner, and we are sloping things off towards the coastal bank at a 2-to-1 slope.
All right. There'll be no walkway from the house to the beach?
That's correct.
Really? It's odd that there'd be no place for them to walk unless they walk across the lawn, right?
That's correct.
So there'd be
yes.
no pavers or anything like that. The existing lawn, outside of the 30-foot, in the 30-foot area will be maintained as it is now?
If permitted to.
Well, we're not gonna ask you to dig it up, but I just didn't want to say a nice green, fairway lawn put in there. It's gonna stay natural as it is.
That's correct.
All right. And exactly how high will the first floor be? If it's on the plan, I'm having a tough time because it's awful tiny print.
The lower structural member will be at elevation 19.1, and the finished slab is at elevation 8.0. So the difference between finished slab and bottom of beam will be 11 feet. And then the beam is typically 1 foot in depth. And then what the finished floor is, a lot of times they recess the floor joist into the beam. If you don't do that, then in the first the finished floor would be approximately 21. So somewhere between, depends on the architectural design, the finished floor would be approximately 20.5 to 21.
All right.
About 12
So
feet above grade.
It will probably be pretty level to Narrows Road.
Narrows Road is up about elevation 12,
Yep.
so.
So the
it'd still be
second
about
floor
10
will
feet
at least
above
be, second floor will at least be level with Narrows.
The
First two, yeah.
finished floor would, I'm estimating finished floor being about 8.5 feet above Narrows Road.
So anybody driving down Narrows Road will see under the house to the water.
Yes, that's correct, Sandy.
Whoa. Okay. Interesting. And I'm going to put my sewer commissioner's hat on. You're going to be invited to a sewer commissioners meeting to discuss the project, if you haven't already been.
I look forward to it.
All right. So they'll have a very good view of the train track. All right. I am very pleased that you did push this back from all the water resources. And I think that answers my question. So there'll be a walkway from the driveway to the steps, and the steps will be up 2 levels, up platform, then up again. There'll be 1 deck in front of the house on the water side, or 2? A second floor deck and then a first floor deck.
Correct. The second floor will be over the first floor in that corner where there's an L-shaped, the house is L-shaped.
Yep.
And the first floor deck is just south of the house.
Okay. And so there'll be breakaway panels under the house. How will they be secured?
The structural engineer who designs the foundation will design them. Typically, they're pinned to keep them in place and usually cabled to anchors at the base of the slab or to the columns.
Was there anything planned to be stored under the house?
Probably kayaks and outdoor furniture in the winter, that kind of stuff.
My clients have said outdoor furniture and kayaks for the winter.
So there has to be some type of way of securing them to the structure in case the breakaway panels break away. I just don't want water coming in underneath that structure and everything under there flowing out into Wareham River.
Understood.
Kwame, that's me, I'm done.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, any Anybody in the audience or online would like to comment about this project?
I do have one comment. I think the plantings on the easterly side of the house are gonna be important for erosion control, and I would really like to see those on a plan and how you're gonna plant them. You know, whether it be 3 feet on center and, you know, what size plants you're gonna actually use when planting those.
Okay.
Because I think those are gonna be very important for the erosion control of that side of the property. That would be my one comment to the project as of right now, is I think we should see a plan with those revisions on it.
Okay.
And Kwame, can we ask they put some type of mat down on that slope to help with the erosion, not just the plants, because it'll take a while for those roots to make hold.
Okay.
Yeah, some type of erosion control blanket. I mean, you're not really proposing to regrade that slope, correct?
That's correct.
Really, it's just
Stabilize it.
the trees that are coming out that will eventually, you know, the roots will eventually die and those will decay. So I think adding the addition of the plants, one for a buffer, but two for the erosion control, I think is important on this property. I just want to see that they are, you know, put in addition to the plan and are referenceable moving forward when we do approve this project.
Okay.
Okay.
So based on that, I would recommend a continuance until we see the revised plan for the plants on the easterly slope with, you know, on center and what size plants you're gonna use.
Motion to continue, 3:20, good for you?
Yes.
Until 3:20?
Okay, that's the motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, Sandy?
Yes.
Autumn?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
And myself, Kwame, aye. 400.
Quick question.
Oh, yes.
In general, if I had a conflict that night and I had to attend by Zoom, is that okay? Or-
I think that's appropriate, as long as Josh has the plans that we can present.
Yeah, I think we have allowed applicants to attend via Zoom. I don't foresee an issue with that.
Okay. I'm typically an in-person guy, but just wanted to ask, and I'll upload the
Life happens.
plan.
Understandable. Yep.
Okay, so do we need oh wait, we did a motion to continue? Okay, so,
We already did a motion.
You already did,
yeah, we're all set with this, right?
right? We took the roll call?
Yes, I did.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty, next one is for Hamilton Beach Associates, INC 0 Worrell Avenue, NOI 44. And this is for beach nourishment on the east end of Hamilton Beach, 1-17 Reynolds Avenue. Anybody here to represent the project? Oh, here he comes.
Kerry Pastor, President of Hamilton Beach Association.
Carol Pastor, okay.
And I spoke to Mr. Madden earlier.
Right.
They weren't gonna send anyone. As I remember from our last hearing, I think the commission was pretty comfortable with this project after receiving the Division of Marine Fisheries letter. So, we have received that letter. It entails some limitations on when the project should be done. It entailed some limitations on when snow fences could be installed. Really what I would suggest, and I think, like I said, I think the commission was comfortable with approving this, is I would include 2 conditions of approval. One being that, you know, we follow any conditions of the Mass Division of Marine Fisheries letter, and that only rubber matted equipment be used on the beach, or rubber tracked equipment, sorry.
So moved. Does that work?
We can have a discussion about it first, if you'd like.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna start with, actually, just, do you want to say anything about?
No, we have started to solicit contractors for equipment, and that's one of the things we had already requested was rubber tracks.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll start with Sandy. You have any questions?
No question, thank you. Nope.
Okay, thank you. Joseph?
Just want to make sure, there's been recent, sand removal near some seawalls around these beach areas. There will be no removal from anywhere else on the properties? Okay. That's all.
Thank you. Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Carol?
No questions, thank you.
I do not have any questions, thank you.
No questions for me.
Excellent. All right. So what is our, we just need a motion to close.
Motion to close the hearing?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I heard somebody talking.
No, it's noise in my backyard here, sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
That was the noisy tumbleweeds.
Is Ellen riding the tumbleweeds out there? Motion to
No.
close the hearing?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? We're gonna start with Sandy.
Yes,
Autumn?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Myself, Kwame, yes. 400. Josh, what is the closing statement, or do we just don't have any
So
standard
you're
order
going to
conditions?
issue an approval of the order of conditions with special conditions being that they follow any conditions laid out in the Division or Marine Fisheries letter, which I'll briefly summarize those. One of them is a time of year restriction, June 1st to October 30th. Number 2 would be an authorization duration, which the authorization duration is valid for 5 years. This is authorization from Mass DMF only. Our normal permits are valid for 3 years. So that, they're just saying that this letter is good for 5 years. And after that 5 years, they have to refile. And then the third condition is upon filing or renewal, extension, or amendment to the order of conditions that you will be issuing, the applicant shall contact the division with a written response of what they're doing. That's just so that they have the ability to review any changes that we may approve. But those are the revision, or that's the outline of the letter that they sent. And then
Excellent.
the special condition of rubber tracked
Yes.
equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Sandy?
yes,
Autumn?
Aye.
Carol?
Yes.
And myself, Kwame, yes. It's 400. Okay, all is good, so we just have to hook up with Josh before you do any kind of work.
Do we receive a letter and there's like a 10-day appeal or a process in which we wait, or?
So I have 21 days to issue the order of conditions. It rarely takes me that long to do. Once you receive the order of conditions, the Department of Environmental Protection has a 10-day appeal period. So you can't do any work prior to that 10 days.
So it could take up to 31 days then, correct, before we start?
We could,
Mathematically.
that's correct.
All right, I thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Too, thanks. All right. Okay, so, looks like we have some fun enforcement orders.
Yep, it's just the one. Are you present for that? Yes. Please approach the mic and identify yourself for the record.
My name is Glenn Euler, and my address is 4 Kennedy Street.
Okay, so this is an enforcement that I brought before the commission, I don't know, maybe about a month ago now, where they ratified the enforcement. The enforcement is basically for the work that's being done behind what appears to be the 2 properties now.
Yes.
Okay, When I originally went out there, it was just the, must have been 4 Kennedy Street property that there was visible work being done. So, the violations that I observed on the property was, there was work being done within the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, which is the 100-foot buffer. There was lack of erosion controls and lack of permitting. So that's what the enforcement is for. The way to rectify that is to start the permitting process.
Yes, I've hired JC Engineering,
Okay,
so I'm just waiting for a proposal for them to do a survey,
okay,
a study, and then put forward a plan and submit.
okay. So the commission will, the commission can set a time frame on that. Normally what I see happen is these engineering companies are inundated with work, and it's just impossible to get the plans, usually within, I don't know how to say it, what the commission would normally like to see in an expedited time frame.
They said like 8 to 12 weeks.
That was my fear. So I did issue a cease and desist, so obviously you can't do any more work until that you come in front of us. What I would like the commission to do is to have erosion controls put up along the resource area, because there is quite a bit of erosion happening.
And do I go to them for that?
For JC Engineering? No, I feel like the limit of the resource area is pretty obvious. There's a seawall over there, and it seems like all the erosion is just toppling over that. So I would say the commission should have you go out and install erosion control immediately. I don't need to.
Just find a contractor to.
Yeah, or yourself. You can get normal erosion control at Home Depot.
Okay.
So whichever way you want to go about it, I would say give me a call as soon as it's done, so I can go out and inspect it.
I will do that.
I would say that should be done within the next week.
I'll do it this weekend.
Okay. Sandy, we haven't really handled many enforcements in my time here. Is there anything the commission has historically done that wasn't outlined?
No, we've stopped the work, and when he comes before us with his plan, we will talk about penalties.
Okay.
Understood.
So I would say, as soon as we start to hear from JC Engineering where they're at, let me know. And as soon as you get the erosion control up, give me a call. I can give you one of my business cards.
I have it.
That's right, I left it on your door.
Yep.
That's right, okay. So, do you have any questions for the commission?
No, I mean, I'm gonna contract with them, follow their guidance.
Yep.
Their guidance from here.
Yep, and I would say that they are an appropriate company to work with, so.
Good.
All right.
Okay.
You don't have to take any action on it.
Right.
It's in the works, so. If you don't have any questions for the commission, you're free to,
Thank
free
you.
to exit.
Okay. Thanks for sticking around.
Thank you.
Have a good one. All right, well,
I can fly through some of these if you'd like.
oh, you can fly through them.
I didn't send out the minutes. I wasn't done with my review of them, so you guys haven't seen those yet. So what I have next under discussion is to vote and close and return funds for 3 open 53G accounts that were opened prior to my employment with the town. So what I need is the commission to take a vote to close and return remaining funds of those 3 accounts.
I say we, let's do a roll call and.
Yeah, you should do them individually because
Okay.
the treasurer's office needs the accurate minutes. for
Okay,
them.
so I'd like to vote to close and return funds for 53G account 12 Pine Tree Drive. Sandy?
I'm going to ask the question, how much is left in the funds?
Barely
Do
anything.
we know?
It's very little. There was, so what happened was when the 53G consultant was hired to review the projects, I think they gave you an estimate, and then they billed what was actually used for the hours. I think maybe at most in one of the accounts is $100, and I think one of the accounts has $5 in it. So
Okay,
normally
Then,
we would keep these, normally we could keep these open if we felt like there was more work for a 53G consultant to do on the project, but we have closed out all 3 of these projects, and there's no additional work for a consultant to do.
all right. Motion has been made to close out the 12 Pine Tree Drive. Was that the motion?
Yep.
Second.
All in favor? Sandy?
Yes.
Autumn?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Myself, Kwame, yes. Okay, so we're gonna have to vote to close and return funds for 53G account 72 Burgess Point Road. Make a motion to return the funds. All in favor?
72.
So moved.
I said 72 Burgess?
Should be 72B Burgess.
Yep,
Point.
72B Burgess Point Road. All in favor to close this? Sandy?
Yes.
Yes. Autumn?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Myself, Kwame, yes. And vote to close and return funds for 53G account 3 Apple Street. Make a motion to,
So moved.
all right. All in favor, Sandy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Sandy did said yes. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, Autumn,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
myself, Kwame, yes.
And then the final vote is if there are, trainings that commission members like to take, those are reimbursable, and this is a vote to approve the reimbursements for various trainings that commission members have taken.
Oh, we are going out with that money.
I'm going to make a motion where you reimburse them for $866.25 since I'm not anyone being reimbursed.
Second.
That's my motion.
Second.
Roll call.
We'll do a roll call. We're gonna do Sandy.
Yes.
Autumn,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
myself, Kwame, yes. All right, I think that is it.
Motion to adjourn the
And
meeting.
one more thing. I want everybody to be aware of this thing called 40A. Ever heard of it?
40A.
It's an attempt by the state
40A.
to put onto the state to allow for solar projects and storage without approval for the various towns. Similar to the 40B, this one is 40A. Watch out for it. It's going to be a tough one.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, boy, more solar.
And I think, yes, so it could very well take it out of our hands to put requirements on our planning, zoning, and conservation for solar projects, including battery storage. I'm done.
Thank you, Sandy.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, we got a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, Carol,
Aye.
Donna, Joe, you can just say yes. I'm gonna say yes, and it's, what time is
Yes,
it?
yes.
Aye.
7:44. A motion to adjourn.
4-0.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Sandy.